From the moment that it was announced in 2018, there were always skeptics who believed that Akon's dream of a futuristic city in Senegal was far-fetched, if not impossible. Complete with beautifully rendered concept art which looked like something straight out of Wakanda, Akon's plan to build his own city was intended to revolutionize not only his birthplace in Senegal, but the whole continent of Africa. But today, things look different, because either Akon bit off way more than he could chew, or he never really planned to build it in the first place. So how do we get
Hey, yo, what is that? It don't look nothing like that.
Before there was any way to understand how Akon was ever permitted to mismanage a project on such a scale, it's important to point out that he has a track record of doing incredible things for Africa. Back in 2015, he provided electricity to 600 million people in Africa with the assistance of Chinese investment.
600 million.
While critics pointed out that much of the funding came from China, whose massive infrastructure investments in Africa have been often criticized as a part of a debt trap, there was no denying that Akon delivered real, tangible improvements that many politicians failed to achieve even after decades in office. Naturally, the success of Akon lighting Africa and his Confidence Foundation, which sought to help underprivileged kids, meant that governments had the belief in him to continue to do more. And soon he sought a further $6 billion, which went from providing electricity to building an entire city. In 2018, Akon formally announced the creation of Akon City in Senegal, and when it was first discussed at a glitzy press conference, things seemed hopeful as he detailed his intentions of not only providing employment, but also to reconnect the African diaspora with their roots. Based on an 800-hectare site in Mbodian, about 800 kilometers or 60 miles, the initial buzz around the project was massive and supported by local dignitaries such as Mbodian's 70-year-old village chief, Michel Diomi, who personally gave Akon his blessing for the project. So with the final nod of approval, Akon and his team got straight to work.
I feel like you're gonna need a little bit more than $6 billion though to build a whole
Ultimately,
city.
it was 2019 when they broke ground on the project, and at the time, Akon seemed unstoppable. For starters, thanks to the positive press surrounding Akon City, he'd made a fortune with his own cryptocurrency, Akon. The idea came from a frustrating moment when he realized that Senegal's main currency, which is the CFA franc, held little value, even in France, where the currency originated. Setting out his own plans for the currency and how it would function, he basically said his vision for Akon was designed to handle some of Africa's unpredictable and unstable markets.
Yeah, man, it sounds good, but that crypto shit, man, that 2019, that's like, I mean, that whole, you know what I'm saying, it's like NFT era, you know what I'm saying, like, that shit just gave scam, you know, but he got a track record, you know what I'm saying, he was really doing something, so, but, you know, I think that kind of was a turning point once you try to come with that. It's like downhill from there. Like, how much you want to bet? Like, we going to keep watching.
His vision for Akon was designed to handle some of Africa's unpredictable and unstable markets.
So is Akon out right now?
It's being used currently right now in Africa, in Kenya, and right now we got a test going on in Uganda. So it's only in East Africa at the moment.
Did the whole crypto crash kind of affect it?
Nah, not at all. Because our currency don't really coincide with the Western currencies like that. Akon is built specifically on mobile minutes. So we transfer your mobile minutes into currency that can be spent on the market.
Then 2020 hit, and like everything else, progress came to a halt. While construction slowed, Akon and his team kept busy navigating the mountain of red tape behind the scenes. Still, he was optimistic enough to set out timelines, saying, "We started construction in March, and stage 2 is going to be 2025. It is in Senegal, West Africa." If there's a point when the real first cracks appeared, it had to be in 2020. What was meant to be a public-private partnership between Senegal and Akon slowly broke down, and eventually, Akon decided to move forward on his own after realizing the collaboration wasn't providing the support he'd hoped for.
At the beginning, it was a PPP, which is a public-private partnership, right? When you got private money, you got public money, and they work together. But then as I got into it, I realized this has to be more of a private investment. The government, their only allocation at the time was supposed to be the land. But then I realized I had to purchase the land. So I was like, okay, well, there ain't really no partnership, so I gotta buy it.
Let's be real. The internet is a pretty shady place. Every site wants to track you, every public Wi-Fi network I use is encrypted. And they back one is tired with just to include encryption. That's percent up.
But then I realized I had to purchase the land. So I was like, okay, well, there ain't really no partnership, so I gotta buy it.
Gotcha.
All right, okay, can you help me out with the taxes?
And while it seems like a shrewd move at the time, you can't help but think that with the benefit of hindsight, it probably wasn't the right move. Still, Akon sought to raise the funds single-handedly, but where he'd previously gone to China for credit, this time he didn't just want any assistance and believed that this had to be done not only for the people of Africa, but by them. So with this utopian vision in mind, Akon was already discussing plans to build the second Akon city in Uganda before 2036.
We've already gotten land in Uganda, which they gave me a whole, and that one is a public-private partnership because the government actually gave me the land, you know, and they actually are looking and believe in the full scope of what this could do for Uganda.
Intent on building not one standalone city, but a whole chain in multiple African countries, both sites ran into problems. In Uganda, progress stalled as existing residents refused to move and repeatedly turned away surveyors. Meanwhile, issues were also uncovered in Senegal, with Akon acknowledging that people had to be relocated and provided dividends. But no matter how honorable his goals appeared on the surface, Akon was still facing personal challenges that only grew as questions arose about Akon City.
It's just hard to develop a whole new country, a whole new city like that, man, you know, from scratch.
This began when Akon's previous business partner, Divine Stevens, leveled a $4 million lawsuit against him, alleging that he still owed him money from a 2018 settlement agreement. And as the issue was brought before the courts, Divine's legal team came at the validity of his pet project, Akon City, stating that Akon City and Akon exhibited many of the trademark characteristics of fraudulent business ventures, such as Ponzi and pyramid schemes. From there, they went further, stating, Akon has provided almost no transparency about who is investing in Akon City or how it will be purportedly built. Therefore, Akon City is likely a scam. And unfortunately for Akon, what the public could see, or more importantly, what they couldn't see, did little to convince anyone that Akon City was on track to becoming a reality anytime soon. For starters, while a project of this scale would typically take 8 to 15 years just in development, Akon's bold claims are one of several ways he ran before he could walk. Because in 2020, just 2 years after that announcement, Akon said that by phase 1, we'll be able to welcome visitors into the city. These initial plans stated that by 2023, it would include a hospital, shopping mall, a school, police station, waste center, and a solar plant. But to this day, all that allegedly exists is a welcome center and a youth center, with little to no progress being made in over 6 years. Despite his best efforts, the public's temperature on Akon City continued to freefall. Where interviewers once celebrated how forward-thinking the project was, there was now consistent skepticism in media outlets like the BBC, which painted it in a much less flattering light. Within a BBC article in 2022, several locals expressed sorrow over the city's stunted construction and suggested that it may never happen. "We thought we could work on it, but at this pace, maybe our children will," said one resident of the area. "We remain hopeful for the project, and we hope that our children will stay here to work." Another resident said they no longer believe in the project before adding, "When it comes, if it finds us here, we'll see how we can contribute." Meanwhile, local journalist Borso Tal painted an even more scathing picture upon visiting, stating that, "I'm only here in the presence of goats. It's completely empty, no sign of buildings, just a long line of green trees and red earth." To make matters worse, YouTubers began traveling to the site to see what the reality of the situation truly was, with the results proving less than encouraging.
On getting here, I was welcomed by this building with a graffiti written Akon City boldly on the wall. This is nothing futuristic like I saw in the CGI. We drove inside the city and this was all I saw. This right here,
You can't expect the CGI to be reality.
that has been built in Akon City. Although this building looked futuristic, but this project is looking like a disappointment.
Still, Akon remained unfazed, maintaining that this was going to be the greatest trace of himself that he'd ever leave on the planet. "I plan to retire in that city. I don't like to use the word king of the city, but that's what it will turn out to be." With Akon claiming that we're trying to
So the land in Uganda, he said that the government gave him that land. So what land is this? Is that the Senegal land? What land? He supposed to be doing 2 cities at a time? Like,
get the city built as fast as possible, he still somehow had the support of Senegal's government as of 2022. "We believe in Akon City and it will come to life," said the CEO of SAPCO. "It will attract tourists and investors in the region, and SAPCO was fully committed to the success of this project." But behind the scenes, things continued to fall apart, because among the issues Akon was facing was the fall of his cryptocurrency. The very lifeblood of Akon City, Akon was fairly transparent in his reasoning for
I could see how at Senegal, you know what I'm saying, if they didn't give him the land, it could easily fail. You know what I'm saying? But if at Uganda they gave him land, he didn't have to pay for it. He got the city's support or the country, whatever, and they funding. certain parts, roads like that. You got to really think about what all goes into that, bro. Roads, sewers, electric mains. Like, you got to think about all that stuff, bro. And that's just you got to think about the stuff that you don't see. You know?
Wanting to use it and
Just the mapping that shit out part. You know what I'm saying? Of the sewer lines. And man, come on now.
that it was where he really stood to profit.
How much Akon do you actually own?
I mean, I am the bank.
But while it was valued at 28 cents at the time of the launch in September 2021,
Nigga said he
as of
is the
2025, it's now fallen to 1 cent. Faced with this reality, Akon finally acknowledged the challenges the project has faced and how they might have been avoided. It wasn't being managed properly, he admitted, and I take full responsibility for that. Still, if there's anything that we've learned about Akon so far, it's that he doesn't give up. So it comes as no surprise that he followed this up by insisting that the drop in his coin value would not affect the city's plans in any way. There are a lot of concerns that I have, Akon admitted to BBC. I want to make sure that however we involve crypto within the city is in a way that lines up with all the rules and regulations. We'll have it figured out by the time the city's up. That's
Bro, crypto is supposed to be the currency, not what you make money on, bro. You as the government, you as the bank being Akon, you're going to take a loss. You know what I'm saying? You're going to take a loss to get the product out there. To get the currency out there. You know what I'm saying? It's not until the currency gets into rotation and it's being used, then you can see a return on your investment. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to take that loss.
for sure. Although the project fell into a state of immobility between 2022 and 2024, Akon himself has remained optimistic, even if the interviewers sounded a little less convinced.
Can I ask you about the Akon city? Is that going to happen, do you think?
As we get closer towards that information, I bring more out.
Okay.
You know, my
Is that
biggest
right?
thing was I promoted it way too early.
Okay.
Because it was out of the excitement.
Okay, so it's
we're
not
in
done.
process now. No, nowhere near it. It's a city.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm glad, man, because, you know, they compared it to Wakanda, and I'm a comic nerd, love Black Panther.
Wakanda's not even a real place, bro.
That's not, obviously, that's fantasy, but still.
Right, exactly.
Anything even remotely close.
No, absolutely.
All right, that's cool.
But for all that Akon put a brave face on, leaks from Sentinel's locals just kept on coming in. We were promised jobs and development, one local resident said. Instead, nothing has changed. And these days,
You were promised, or you was just
it appears that Senegalese officials
nobody came and shook your hand and said, "I promise you, we're gonna have a job for you when this city is built."
have decided that enough is enough. In July of 2025, it was announced that due to lack of notable progress in the last couple of years, they'd given Akon a formal notice to start work on his project, or the government will take back 90% of the land granted to him. This was coupled with a statement where they suggested that not only was it no longer going to exist in the originally intended form, but there was now a consolation prize of sorts in the works instead. Akon City project no longer exists, said the head of Senegal's tourism development body, SAPCO. Fortunately, an agreement has been reached between SAPCO and the entrepreneur Akon. What he's preparing with us is a realistic project, which SAPCO will fully support. Here we see that contrary to the original $6 billion in funding he sought, it was revealed that the government now plans to spend 665 billion CFA francs, roughly 1 billion American dollars, turning the area into a tourism hub with hotels, apartments, a marina, and a promenade with the goal to make Mbodian a true engine of growth. But even if they are planning to move ahead with this, they've still got a big obstacle in the form of Akon himself. Because although they are suggesting it's out of his hands, Akon still stubbornly believes otherwise. What's more, he's unfazed by scam claims, suggesting the reason for all the negativity is because he's fighting against the status quo.
There's like mini YouTube documentaries about your city and how it's like a big scam.
Right.
Do you care about the naysayers? When you know the truth?
I don't care about that, because in the end, when the city's actually up, they're gonna feel like
Yeah.
it's different if it wasn't happening.
What has been the most difficult part of that project? Because it is a big thing to take on.
I think the most difficult part was fighting the opposition, realizing how much interest that other governments had in Africa, specifically in that area, and why they would want to tear my project down.
At every turn, he's refuting the SAPCO version of events. Instead, he suggested that there's been a ploy to bring it down.
Right, I can tell you why this isn't gonna work, because he's starting a nation that's not built off of war and destruction. You go to any country, any whatever the fuck. country, you know what I'm saying, was founded off of war. You know what I'm saying? Now, you're not necessarily finding a whole country. You're getting support from the country, allegedly. But you know what I'm saying, though.
Before it can ever truly come to fruition, practically portraying the negative media coverage as an attempt to put him back in his place and to bring an end to such high-minded ambitions for the continent.
You were building Akon City.
We're still building it.
You still building it.
Yeah.
So why are they saying it stopped?
It's a big dream. It's
Okay.
something that it goes beyond the capabilities of what they think one man can create. And what they don't realize is it starts off as a dream and then it continues as something that becomes a reality as people start to adapt it. Like, nobody knew that Manhattan would be what it is 75 years later, 100 years later. Nobody knew that Dubai could be what it is 50 years later. So it starts with one building and it becomes something that becomes monumental in the future. But I think what happens is with Africa is one of them places where the development of it starts now and it will become the future 100%.
And above all, he's insisted he's still in charge and that there's nothing anyone can do about it.
So you still have that land? Because I know in the article it was like, oh, we took the land
They
back.
can't take what they don't own. That's
Okay.
my land. How you gonna take my land? Like,
Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
let's not act like that hasn't happened in the past. They
no,
will
in
take
America
somebody's
that can
land.
happen, but
Yeah,
not in Africa.
okay.
Africa, when you own it from the Tudor to the Buddha. This is the part where the people have to realize what's real and what's not. Because if you see 3,000 negative ads and not one positive one, you got to know that there's an agenda going on somewhere.
Right now, the only thing certain about Akon City is that its future is completely uncertain. The skyscrapers that were supposed to be welcoming guests by now have yet to materialize. And apart from a welcoming youth center, the site looks much the same as it did when construction first began. Meanwhile, Akon and his home country are locked in a bitter dispute, with his once celebrated vision of uplifting the nation now under more scrutiny than ever before.
I ain't gonna say it ain't gonna happen, man, but it's gonna be very hard, bro, and it's not gonna happen overnight within the next 20 years. Bro, a city develops over hundreds of years, bro. Not just 10 years, bro. You know what I'm saying? But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. We on the road to 100K, okay? If you ain't hit that like button, subscribe button, and turned on all notifications, slap the dog shit about yourself, because that's the first thing you should have did when you clicked on this video. I'll get at you on the next one, and I'm gone. T.Y. Pit and name.